Hey folks, Gary here. You know, man, we can look at other people's lives and say, man, I wish I had that guy's life. Well, maybe, but you might not want his trouble as well because trouble happens to everyone. And sometimes the trouble can be really, really big. And people will come to you and they'll say, man, I don't know what to do. You're like my last resort. I've tried everything. There's no answer for this. Well, as a Christian, we can say, oh my goodness, I can't help this person. What am I supposed to do? Well, that's the point. You can't help this person, and they haven't found help anywhere else. Take it to God, take it to Jesus, and see what Jesus will do. And that kind of gets to our scripture today. We're looking at 2 Kings chapter 5. We'll look at that for the next little while. But we're looking at verses 1 to 8, and it says this. Naaman was the commander of the Syrian army. The Lord had helped him and his troops defeat their enemies. So the king of Syria respected Naaman very, very much. Naaman was a brave soldier, but he had leprosy. So a couple things there, just boom. One is God was helping Naaman and his troops defeat their enemies. Who were their enemies? Well, a lot of times it was Israel, right? So that's like God was helping him. Be careful who you pick as an enemy. In other words, seek God and see what God is doing. Obviously, God was using Naaman for a reason, right? So that's the first part. But the second part is Naaman's got a real problem. He's got leprosy, and that's a big, big deal, especially then. One day, while the Syrian troops were raiding Israel, they captured a girl, and she became the servant of Naaman's wife. Sometime later, the girl said, if your husband Naaman would go to the prophet in Samaria, he would be cured of his leprosy. So this girl is a hero. Why do I say that? She has been captured by the Syrians. She's been taken. She is a slave, and yet the love of God is so deep inside of her that she gets past all that to tell her master how he can be healed. So that's pretty cool. So when Naaman told the king what the girl had said, the king replied, go ahead. I will give you a letter to take to the king of Israel. Naaman left and took along 750 pounds of silver, 150 pounds of gold, and 10 new outfits. He really wants to get healed, right? Yeah. So he also carried the letter that the king to the king of Israel, and it said, I am sending my servant Naaman to you. Would you cure him of leprosy? When the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes in fear and shouted, in fear, right? And shouted, that Syrian king believes I can cure this man of leprosy. Does he think I'm God with the power over life and death? He must be trying to pick a fight with me. So the Israelite king just loses it. But then we get to verse 8. As soon as Elijah the prophet heard what had happened, he sent the Israelite king this message. Why are you so afraid? Don't be afraid. Don't do fear. When you do fear, you do stupid things, right? So why are you so afraid? Send this man to me so that he will know there's a prophet in Israel. Elijah gets it's like, this is the opportunity. Send him to me. Why? So we can show him who God is. That God will heal him and he will know who God is. Always look for that opportunity. So, man, when trouble comes your way, give it to God. Give it to Jesus. Because you never know what God's going to do.